Our gospel reading for today, for Maundy Thursday, is the Gospel of John, the 13th chapter. And Jesus and his disciples are gathered in the upper room. But the words of John. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." And Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "One who is bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and for this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example, that you also should do as I have done to you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God had been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Holy wisdom, holy word. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise be to you, O Christ. You know, it's funny, when I was reading this and preparing for this, these thoughts, these sermonette thoughts, I realized that the lighting in my office isn't really all that great, or maybe my eyes are going. Yeah, Laura, you're probably right. I probably do need new glasses. But I was getting two words, vacation and vocation, mixed up when I was preparing this sermon, and it puts an entirely different spin on vocation versus vacation. But today, it struck me. Through the cross, we kind of do have a vacation. We have a vacation from sin and death, where we should really be. We have been freed to live and love and serve our neighbors as best we can, not through any works that we do of our own, but the cross frees us to do that in really wonderful ways. And as we start our Holy Week journey to the cross, I mean, it's already started, but as we move further along, we get to see this, that the things that are happening to Jesus, every time that you see the disciples having an opportunity to do the right thing, or what you think would be right and proper, they get it wrong. And even in the garden, we're going to see this very soon, even in the garden, where he asked his disciples to simply stay awake with him as Jesus experiences what he's going to experience, they still fall asleep, and it's such a little thing, just to stay awake. And we still can't even do that. And that's a great example of the human condition. I think we want to, with all our hearts, to do the right things. We want to be good neighbors, as the saying goes, and we don't. And that's because of just who we are as humanity. But in the cross, that we're going to see in just a few short days, we see God's love for us. We see Jesus go to the cross for us, and we realize that we can't justify ourselves before God. So Jesus gives us a vacation from trying to earn salvation. Jesus goes and does what we can't. We see God's love for us on that cross. We can't earn it. We can't cast it aside. It's given to us like a box from Amazon that's arrived at our doorstep that we can't give back. We didn't order, we couldn't pay for, but it's there for us, and we can't, brothers and sisters, ever lose it. And praise be to God for that. And on the cross, we're going to see in the cross and empty tomb, God declares us forgiven. And this is something that I think we need to hear that. We need to see that in this world today where we might be struggling. How do we serve our neighbors? And that leads to the vocation aspect. You see, we've been freed, as I said, through that cross and through that empty tomb. Now that salvation's been taken out of our hands, we have simply the question, what do we do with the time that we have? What do we do now, basically? And, well, we try to love God and serve our neighbor as best we can. We're never going to do it perfectly, but in our reading today, we see that we are called to love and serve our neighbors. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to get it right. We're not necessarily going to get it perfect, but we're called to try. And that's really what that vocation really is, our Christian vocation. You know, it's funny, from that, the word vocation, from Latin, vocatus, to call. And it's really God calling us to serve as Christ served us. I mean, we're not Jesus. We see that in the reading today. The servant is not greater than the master. You know, we can't climb up on a cross and somehow earn salvation for ourselves, no matter what we may think. We may like to do that because that would give us control over whether or not we're named and claimed. And we like that as human beings, to be able to say, if you do this or that, then you are somehow righteous. No, God has already declared us righteous through the body and blood, through what we see on the cross. So this is something that, again, like I said, we cannot earn. We can never even begin to approach that. But we can love and serve our neighbors as best we can. And just remember that, brothers and sisters, sometimes, and especially right now, it might be hard to see how can we serve our brothers and sisters. And then it struck me in this time of social distancing, sometimes even by sitting and avoiding the most at risk, we can do that. So continue to do what you can to love and serve one another. And I will see you tomorrow as we celebrate Good Friday together. Amen. And if throughout the sermon, this is just a little addendum, shall we say, if you notice the camera shaking, that was one of my little fur children. This would be Wind, and she decided that she would take an active part in our worship today. So wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, maybe cats as well, Jesus has promised to be present. So I will see you guys again tomorrow, and God bless. Bye-bye.